There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain. You look ahead and wonder, what is God doing? Why does it feel like things aren't working out the way you hoped? You've prayed, trusted, waited, but still, the path forward seems unclear. Let me tell you something that will shift your perspective. God has a perfect plan for your future, a plan that goes beyond what you can see or understand right now. It may not make sense today. It may not align with your expectations. But trust this. His timing is flawless, His purpose is divine, and His love for you never fails. In a world that glorifies control, instant results, and self-made success, surrendering to God's plan can feel counterintuitive. We want to know the details, the timeline, and the guarantee. But faith doesn't require certainty, it requires trust. And trusting God's plan means believing that even when things don't go the way you wanted, they're going the way He intended. Because here's the truth. You were created for a purpose, and every step you take, every detour, every delay, every disappointment is shaping you into the person you need to be for the destiny God has prepared for you. So today, I invite you to release your grip on trying to control everything and open your heart to the peace that comes from knowing God is leading you. Even if you can't see it yet, even if you feel stuck or forgotten, even if your dreams seem far away, His plan is unfolding, and it's good. Understanding God's timing. One of the hardest parts of trusting God's plan is learning to trust His timing. We live in a fast-paced world where we expect immediate results. If something doesn't happen within our desired time frame, we assume it won't happen at all. But God doesn't operate on clocks or calendars. His ways are higher than ours, and His timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't feel like it. How many times have you prayed for something only to feel like God was silent? How often have you taken steps toward a goal, only to hit roadblocks that made no sense? What if those delays weren't setbacks, but setups for something greater? Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, falsely accused and thrown into prison. For years he waited in darkness, but God was preparing him to save an entire nation. David was anointed king while still a shepherd boy, but he spent years running for his life before taking the throne. God had already chosen him, but first he had to shape him. Your waiting isn't wasted. Every moment of uncertainty is being used by God to prepare you for the next season of your life. So stop rushing. Stop doubting. Stop comparing your journey to others. God is not late. He is not distracted. He is not indifferent. He is orchestrating every detail behind the scenes so that when the time is right, everything will fall into place and you'll look back and say, "Now I see." Embracing the detours. Sometimes God's plan includes detours, paths we never expected to walk. You may have had a clear vision for your future, a career, a relationship, a dream you believed God placed on your heart. But then life happened. Circumstances changed. Doors closed unexpectedly. Plans fell apart. You thought you were headed one way, and suddenly you're somewhere else entirely. But what if those detours are part of the divine design? The Israelites didn't go straight from Egypt to the promised land. They wandered for 40 years. It seemed like punishment, but it was preparation. God was teaching them dependence, patience, and trust. Likewise, your current path may not look like what you imagined, but it's exactly where you need to be to grow into the person God is calling you to become. Detours aren't signs that God has abandoned you. They're signs that He's refining you. He removes distractions, humbles your heart, and builds resilience in places you never knew you needed strength. So instead of resisting the unexpected, ask God, "What are you teaching me in this season?" Because sometimes the long way is the only way to get where you truly belong. Surrendering control. Trusting God's plan requires surrender. And surrender is hard, because it means letting go of control, releasing your need for answers, and placing your future in the hands of someone who sees the whole picture. But here's the beauty of surrender. When you stop trying to force things to work out your way, you open the door for God to do what only He can. He brings people together. He opens doors no man can shut. He turns situations around in ways that defy logic. Surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's recognizing that your plans are limited, but His are limitless. When you surrender your future to God, you're not giving up, you're stepping into alignment with His purpose. You stop chasing after temporary fixes and start walking toward eternal fulfillment. You stop obsessing over timelines and start focusing on transformation. You stop asking, "Why isn't this happening?" and start asking, "What is God doing in me during this wait?" That's how you grow. That's how you prepare. That's how you position yourself for the breakthroughs only God can bring. Walking in purpose. God's plan for your future is not just about blessings, it's about purpose. He didn't create you to simply exist. He created you to impact, to serve, to lead, to inspire. Your purpose might not be fully revealed yet, but every step you take, every challenge you face, every prayer you pray is bringing you closer to it. Don't let confusion or fear keep you from stepping forward. Even small acts of obedience open the door to divine opportunities. You may not know the full picture yet, but you don't have to. All you need is the next step. Walk in faith. Trust that each day is building towards something greater. God has given you gifts, talents, and passions for a reason. They may not make sense now, but one day you'll see how He used every piece of your story for His glory. So don't give up. Don't settle. Don't shrink back because things aren't moving as fast as you'd like. You are being prepared. You are being positioned. You are being called. And when the time is right, God will reveal the fullness of His plan, and it will be more beautiful than anything you could have imagined. Releasing fear and doubt. Fear and doubt are two of the biggest obstacles to embracing God's plan. They whisper lies in your ear. You're too old. You missed your chance. This dream was never meant to be. But fear is not from God. Doubt tries to convince you that if something hasn't happened yet, it never will. But God's word says otherwise. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. You can replace fear with faith. You can exchange doubt for declaration. Speak life over your future. Declare that God is faithful. Declare that He will fulfill every promise in His perfect time. You don't have to carry the weight of uncertainty alone. Give it to God. Let Him carry the burden of your future, because He already knows how it ends. So, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this. No matter how uncertain your future may seem, no matter how long you've been waiting, no matter how many detours you've faced, God is still working. He is still speaking. He is still leading. Trust His plan. Walk in His purpose. Surrender your fears and believe that He is writing a story far greater than anything you could write for yourself. Because when the time is right, you'll stand in awe not just of what God did, but of how He shaped you along the way. Thank you for listening. And remember, God's plan for your future is good, and it's worth the wait.